Hey, it's 4:32 a.m. It is September, I believe it's September 11th, and it's Wednesday morning. So, I'm not looking at the calendar, but I am looking at the clock, and I'm just trying to figure out things. I went to bed pretty early, and then I ended up getting up like around about an hour ago, and I realized I couldn't go back to sleep, so I decided to make this video. So I'm up at night, just kind of thinking, and trying to figure out, what am I doing, and trying to, make some sense of all of this, and trying to stay, in a positive frame of mind. I think that everything that happened to me was pretty devastating, and I'm just trying to move on from that, and I know that some people are, I think okay, most people are used to dealing with this particular person. I believe that this person who was attacking me and who passed on, I don't want to mention their name, but they're big. It's a big name. I think a lot of people may have interacted with this person and became used to this person, and I think he may have been comfortable speaking with people who were a part of like the general public, not just like elite people, but people who are just like regular people who work 9 to 5 jobs. And I think that he associated with them, and this is one of the reasons why it made it easy for him to have that kind of influence. And people felt honored, perhaps even flattered by having an association with this person, and so it created even worse problems. But I've been thinking about the campaign smears, and how all this got started, and the whole I guess he felt well, the original issue was having some sort of battle with people who they perceived to be enemies of their clan, which is funny. I never even thought of it that way, or even considered that. This is also really unfortunate and very disturbing, I guess, for me. It's like it disturbs me to think that somebody would be in competition with me to the point of where they would force me out and take the little things that I have. Like, I don't have much. People should see that. I mean, it's obvious. It's a no-brainer. I don't have much. I came from an abusive background, which was created by this particular group of people. It was a nightmare, okay, which I think everybody understands. And so, you know, I'm I feel victimized a lot, because obviously this was not in any way a battle that I wanted to be a part of, or anything. So it causes me a lot of problems. It prevents me from relaxing completely or feeling safe. Um, I think I think that's what bothers me the most, is the fact that something like this could shake my peace of mind. It's a little too much for me. You know what I mean? Because I understand my rights, and I understand what it means to live here in the United States, and to be attacked or be badgered over something like that you're not supposed to be badgered over. It does disturb you. It should be easy to understand why that would disturb me. It's like being attacked, you know what I mean, in your own country. It's very strange. But anyway, I didn't want to talk too much about that. I was more focusing on, me enjoying this part of the night. And, there's certain times of the day that I think are more pleasurable than others. But, like, I would say around this time of the night, where you don't really hear a whole lot of cars, and the cars that you do hear are, like, more in the distance. And I hear, the sounds of, like, the trains that go by. Now, when I was a kid, I used to be so fascinated by trains, and I still to this day am, okay? Mainly because in the middle of the night, they have this lonesome sound, and you wonder, where are they going? Where are they going, I've always been a fan of railroads, and I used to walk around the railroad tracks, and sometimes I'd find like a loose railroad spike, and I would actually save it if I could. I used to collect things from the railroad track. Only I think it has a lot to do with maybe my connection to being C.B. Braganza, perhaps, maybe, because this is a 19th century person, and I know when I was little, growing up as Maria Gordon, I've always had an interest in things that were associated with the 1800s, and I believe that my interest in trains probably had something to do with the whole C.B. Berganza connection. I think a lot of, because I've always had strange fascinations. Definitely, I am a marking or indicator of somebody who was reincarnated. Pretty deep. But yeah, I'm looking for work, and not, there's days where I kind of pick up, and there's days where I just feel very overwhelmed and just depressed by the entire thing, mainly because it's like, this issue made it very difficult for me to know which direction you go in and feel confident or safe in a job interview, or even try to pursue one, because I think what happened is, obviously it's a form of terrorism, and it disturbed me that adults would act in such a petty manner and not know the definition of what marriage is, or it's like, this is what bothers me so much, is that people can get led into all kinds of error, and then I'm always the one who's getting pointed out, like I'm the one who doesn't know anything. You know what I mean? It's like, I sometimes feel like, well, okay, I do. I feel like we do live in hell, and we do live in hell. When you really look at the whole situation, even on mainly on a spiritual point, it is like, oh my God, I feel like I live in a nightmare. My life is a nightmare because, of me being able to understand things, and then the people that have like the slightest bit of any sort of issue with you will bring up the stupidest stuff, and I see right through it, and I know my rights, and I can easily dispel it, but it's the fact that they bring it up anyway, and it's the fact that their silly arguments entangle my life to the point of where I am now. And this is what frustrates me so much. But so yeah, I'm looking for work, and I would say that that should be my main focus. But I do have my projects that I'm working on. I was working on my newsletter, and I was also working on, because I'm referencing something in my newsletter relating to my 4-part educational series. The autodidacts, and then the revision of, like, yeah, I'm looking at different curriculums, and I'm like, okay, well, this could be combined, or this could be whatever. I'm kind of restructuring things as an example, and I feel as though this is something that I want to highlight in my newsletter. But yeah, like, I know that I've been sabotaged a lot, and because of being targeted, and I was also, a part of the targeting was for me to be discredited, because of, mostly, I would say it's about elitism, recognizing the privileges that this particular bloodline has. See, this is what makes it so, like, ridiculous. Okay, it's like, and I kind of say this in a respectful way, because don't get me wrong, I am very angry that somebody took this kind of action against me. I'm very angry that it would invade my life in the manner that they did. But I also understand that this particular person, and this is not me excusing this person, because there was a lot of hate in this person's heart when they did these sort of actions. But I also know that this person was also blindly following a tradition that his family had put into place, centuries or so before this person came into existence. Also, the thing is, when you believe in certain things, it could direct your actions into doing things that are immoral. In this case, his view of the superiority that I would say, okay, when you're comparing these things, okay, I live in an apartment, okay, And I believe this person lived in a castle, okay, or something, exquisite like that, okay. This person had the power to make it so that I couldn't work, and I got my car repossessed, okay. This person I've seen, being escorted in, different vehicles, being chauffeured, having all kinds of luxuries that I never ever even thought to compare myself to, because I figured I was never going to be in that class in the first place. Okay. So we have this person who basically has everything and wants to compete against somebody who doesn't have basically anything. You know what I mean? To me, it's like, okay, what frustrates me so much about this is that this person had everything. Like, they had everything on the earth to be comfortable, and they were not content with it, and they thought it was an okay thing to do, to mess with a person who had very little and who was already suffering. You know what I mean? So, but see, because of what he believed that that made him powerful. Like, I have something that you don't. And this is what, and this is what was offensive to the higher source, the higher power. It's like, it's greed, okay? It's greed. So it's not about really being powerful, it's about being abusive, tyrannical. Anyway, I'm getting my head together, but I would say that if you ever experience something like this sort of abuse, okay, I'm going to call it ritualistic abuse, or put it in that category. And why do I call it ritualistic abuse? Is because this was a program to bully a person to the point of dying. Okay, because this person really had no intentions of letting up. Had this divine intervention not have happened to stop this person had problems. Okay, so they had to be stopped. Okay, so it was a wicked thing to do. But see, he didn't see it as wicked. He was just following tradition. He was just feeling prideful about what his clan had and blah, 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 blah. Okay? I am at peace with my experience being like, I understand what happened, and I understand what bloodline targeting is, and I understand all that stuff. So, but I'm not happy with what he did. I'm not happy with the pain that he caused. I'm not happy with the years that went by and I missed out of my life. I'm very angry that somebody would give, or somebody, the opportunity, like, for example, Bruce's family had no business in my life in my adult years. Okay, they made it very clear that they weren't paying child support or anything like that, and I was fine being on my own. It's like, how dare you? How dare you? And this angers me. And there's a lot of resentment in that. I mean, because when I start thinking back about, the nerve of these people, you know what I mean? It really does anger me. And I see that I've suffered a lot. Suffered a lot. But, so going back to what I'm doing now, I would say that, the situation that his family put in place made him a very corrupt individual. Do I believe that he was evil? See, here's the thing. I believe that there's evil, and I do believe that people can be corrupt to the point of being evil. I do believe that people generally don't have morals, but it's like, okay, his family did something that was evil. The desire for the power was out of control. To want to enslave or make clones of people who they felt were they were in competition with, or just other royal lines of families, just to play with them. You know what I mean? Bully them and conquer them by, like, taking away their traditions, their culture, forcing them to acknowledge their religion, the entire thing. That's evil. That's evil. And then, the cloning process is to, constantly keep them in the cycle of getting, coming back on Earth to serve the monarchy. That's insane. That's the same. See, and I don't think that this generation of the royal family understood exactly what their ancestors did. They just know that they were rulers, that they had these clones, and this is it. That's it. They didn't realize that how immoral that was. It's immoral. It's wicked. Okay. And so I'm looking at this, and of course, I'm disturbed by it. I'm disturbed by it. And, um, and I feel as though, I get angry because I missed so many years of my life, and it seems like I've always been at this point where I've always had to been like, I've always been like, pick myself up, and then every time I stand up, the day would come, and then they would just shatter everything again. Like, mind you, okay, I moved to Bakersfield because I wanted to be close to my family at the time, okay, because I didn't realize that my family was not my family, and I didn't realize that they were, I didn't realize at the time that they were a part of this weird thing. But when I moved down here, I moved here obviously for the cheap rent, and that's the reason why I did it. And because I believe that they must have had the jobs blocked off from when I was living in Lancaster, and so I wanted to like have just a fresher start, Even though it's a very short distance from Lancaster to Bakersfield, I wanted to have a clean slate, start all over again. I mean, I knew things were I had problems in Lancaster because of bullying, and I figured, okay, let's just come over here, cheap rent. My son will get stable, meaning because we were always moving back and forth. I just want to be stable. Okay. That never happened because these people just constantly badgered me. I'd start a job and harassed at the start. I mean, the nightmares, over and over and over and over again. It would happen in school. It would happen everywhere I'd go. And now I'm just like, oh my God, how is it that people are amazed at how I never threw in the towel, but it's because of the knowledge that I had acquired, understanding that targeting can happen. I just never thought I was a bloodline targeted victim. You know what I mean? I also understood things about secret societies. I also understood. I had already understood this stuff, a long time ago. I just started realizing, okay, Maria, you're a victim of it. Not happy about it. You know what I mean? It's sad that I've been thinking about the time that I've lost, and I'm doing everything I possibly can to get it back, but you can't get everything back. You know what I mean? But I do see the importance of taking and seeing, how precious every moment of life is, you know. And I do what I can, as much as I can, to make up for the lost time. And I think that's important. Like I said, I can never get my life back. I can never, no one could ever replace what I lost. You know what I mean? It's like when you think about the childhood, I could have had a better childhood. I could have had a better time raising my son. It wasn't, I honestly think that my son having a child all by myself he was not a bad kid. We didn't have that many problems. You know what I mean? And I could have been able to spend more time with my son. I could have been at more happier times, coming home from work in a happier mood if it wasn't for that bullshit. You know what I mean? I could have had a better quality of life. And I know I'm not the only person who feels this way. Because I know that this family, because they were following tradition, has ruined a lot of people's lives. A lot of people's lives. You know? So it's like, I will be, focusing on my education project anyway, in my newsletter. And yeah, this is the fourth quarter, and I know I have faced so much opposition, and it wasn't in me, by me standing up for myself. It was not in any way a form of rebellion. It was a way of me exerting my right and being aware of what I had the right to do. As small as it is, I feel as though it's important. I'm somebody who has been um, deprived of a decent life, pretty much for as long as I can remember. You know, I mean, the very fact that I was a clone and that I was raised in a fake family, and the very fact that, I would be in jobs and they would be sabotaged, the very fact that, I've never been able to have any sort of peace of mind in my life because of bloodline targeting over something that I could even care less about. Mind you, I'm very grateful that I am Prince Alamehu. I really love Prince Alamehu even more as CB Braganza. There's just something about CB Braganza. Maybe, like I said, because me and CB are like so obviously one. Okay? But I also think about the Egyptian roots and how it explains my interest in mysticism. But I think I'm angry because people painted me out to be something bad. People painted me out to be something wicked when they step back and start really thinking about the hypocrisy of the religious belief that these people adapted and acted out, which they had no right to. They have to understand that they had it upside down, and I paid the price for, number one, ignorance in people, and number two, the evil that was the original part of the plan. The evil part of the plan was from their ancestors, the royals' ancestors, to be so greedy, to be that greedy. I mean, like, wow, to just absorb everything, to have everything, not because they have the ability to sway, but they did it in a forceful way that caused so much pain in the lives of so many people. So anyway, I think I'm getting a little bit tired, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get some rest, and then when the sun comes up, maybe I'll stay up to the sun. The thing is, when I have all this free time, I mean, it's nice to have time on my hands, but sometimes it gets to be a little too much, but I guess I could stay up and watch the sunrise. It depends. We'll see what happens, It's nice to have this free time, but sometimes I feel like I have a little too much time on my hands. And hopefully, and the sad part is like, I've been so turned off by the workplace because of everything I've experienced. And it's sad because I used to like working, and now I feel like I need an attitude adjustment, and I need one quick because everything to me just seems really sad. And like work, I feel like, is work ever going to be enjoyable to me again? Am I ever going to be, happy, looking forward to going to work? Or just, I don't know. All I'm going to say is that to have that sort of experience with something that dark, that something that can deplete your resources, even your thought process of even being positive about the future, that is definitely something demonic. I'm going to tell you right now, if it can wipe that much out of a person, you just encounter something very dark. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.